And we are live. Hello on your TV sets in Texas and Louisiana. We are on the Smart Money Culture TV network. Our main man, Fly Mackey, the man with the plan, doing an amazing job pushing that out there. We will be in a lot more TV sets in the coming months all over the United States. Super excited about it. So we have a great show lined up today. Thanks for joining us as well on our different platforms that we're streaming on X, on LinkedIn, and YouTube, all the rest of them. It is great to have you. It's great to be here. Pretty interesting market, pretty interesting day. Great show lined up. Just going over some of the things this morning. And, I think that at another point, at another time, we would have had a pretty big pullback over the evening, and we didn't. And the reason I say we'd have a pretty big pullback was, of course, we had the death of the Iranian president over, I think, the last 24 hours or so. So that is big news. Everyone's talking, of course, about the CIA and the Mossad were behind it and all these types of things. And I don't know if we're ever going to know. But the fact that the markets haven't tanked completely, I think overall say that things are pretty healthy on the market. And when I say healthy, they're going to go up. The dollar, of course, is kind of a different story. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a bit. I do hope that that the world can hold itself together, and that we can have some peace, and that I hope that it was just an accident, and that's what happens, and that is what happens sometimes. It looked like some pretty bad weather out there, and we've all been through bad weather every day when we go and do stuff, and you can't drive down the highway without seeing stuff. Stuff happens. So hopefully that's it. Bitcoin is actually looking pretty healthy on my 24-hour chart. It's a little bit down on the 24-hour. Gold, silver, the breakaways here, just the absolute breakaway. Gold and silver. Silver is up more than 3%. Guys, if you had been buying at cost metals, at costmetals.club, if you go there, but I think the easier way to do it is at costmetals.com. If you go to at costmetals.com, use the referral link clubs, and you can buy gold, silver, palladium, and platinum at cost. And just get a little every month. It's not financial advice and all that stuff I'm supposed to say, okay? But you get a little bit every month. You have Thomas Massey, who is now pushing really to end the Fed. This is something that needs to happen. We all need to support it, because we are, in fact, slaves to the debt of the central bankers. Okay, they're able to print up as much money. Those cash dollars that you like, we all like the cash, right? I mean, let's face it, it's fun to spend, it's fun to use. But that is they say it was a debt instrument, but I've been saying it's actually a tax instrument. It's actually a tax instrument. Every $100 comes with $3 of tax, and or debt, tax, however you want to call it. Okay, and so what you want to do, not financial advice and all that stuff, right? But if you bought even like one silver gold or silver eagle over the last, once a month over the last few years, you are really, really happy right now. Silver pushed up impressively over 3% coming into this trading week. The futures market was closed over the weekend as it opened up on Monday across the world. The futures markets and these markets, they open up at about 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's about 6 or 7 p.m. there in Texas, and it's the morning of in Asia. Okay, and that's the way that works. So that's pushed up a lot. Silver's looking very, very good. Gold's looking very good, and these are hedges against inflation. These are the way that people can hedge on inflation. Of course, you have Bitcoin as well, and these other cryptocurrencies. And this way, you can do it too. Basically, one of the ways that we can take the power back from the people that are oppressing us or are taxing us, I guess is the best way to say it, is by not having our value or so much of our value in assets like the US dollar that they can just tax at any time. And when I say the dollar is like a tax instrument, like just imagine to yourself that it's a tax instrument and it's not taxed like one time, okay? But it's taxed whenever they want. So as long as you're holding US dollars, you're holding a tax instrument and they can tax you as much as they want whenever they want. Not only do they collect taxes on the front end with those paper US dollars that everyone likes so much, but they also are able to tap, and steal value from you all the time whenever they want, just by diluting the total supply of the US dollars in circulation. This dilutes the US dollars. It lowers the value that you have. Okay. And so they're able to tax it at any time. Get into gold, get into silver, get into Bitcoin, get into Litecoin, get into maybe Global Boost, maybe Digibyte, some of these other ones. I'm really a big proponent of these older blockchains that cannot be, there's no central authority on. So, Global Boost is the one that we had a big hand in starting way back in the day. So full disclosure there. Let's see here. Some more news coming out. Breaking. The judge has just published a ruling that Copa versus Craig Wright lawsuit that Craig is not Satoshi. Massive victory for Bitcoin. This is on Bitcoin Magazine that they just pumped that. They just put that out. So I was just reading it there. I won't dig into that too much. I don't think that's, it is news, but it doesn't really affect you per se that much. Good morning. Today is the 1 year, 7-month anniversary since I lost my dad. I'm so sorry to hear that. It's always so hard. Well, my prayers your way. It's from Twitter. Just a lady, my friend. That is never easy. And I think that, I don't know. It does get easier, but people stay with us forever, right? And, they live in our thoughts and our minds and our hearts for a long, long time. And I guess they're always kind of with us. Yeah, well, take some time for yourself and go out and get some nature, smell some flowers and stuff like that. Thanks for sharing. I lose my mom tomorrow. Moving away, my heart is so broken. Well, definitely, my heart and prayers are with you. Got to stay strong. Okay. So as we move it through here, we do have, guys, as well, Consensus Austin is coming up. This is just a major event here. Consensus Austin. I don't know if there has been a more important consensus ever. Consensus was the event that they used to do or that they used to do in New York. And there was always suits. It was like suits. I would go with this thing and I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And here, let me put that on the background there. Consensus. So then they moved to Austin. Austin, of course, is like a great fun city. It has a lot of and then it turns into a festival. So it goes from like a suits. And this is Consensus. Consensus, it happens every year for about 10 years. So they moved to Austin, and of course, it turns into suits. It's more of it turns into a festival. And it's just this like really, really fun event. And but it kept the suits. So it keeps the suits. They're all coming. You have with you, just everybody really coming to this event. And then as well, you have all of the festival. You have the festival wearers, and you have the suits that are still going to the event. Okay. Now you can get your tickets now. They are going up. You know how they do these things. They are going up slowly but surely. These things are moving up. So you want to make sure that you get your tickets, okay, before they go up more. You can use your referral code Bruce. I just put that on here. CoinDesk. Just Google CoinDesk. You can go to CoinDesk 2024 consensus.2024. I'll get it right one of these times. Consensus2024.coindesk.com. Use referral code Bruce. Get a 15% discount there. We do have quite a few people that are coming. I can tell you that it is the big one, guys. I'll just talk about it in a minute here while we're looking at this, because when I tell you, this new asset class, and it is new, it's still new. This asset class is this is really big. You don't want to be left behind. You already are in a little bit, right? You've been left behind on this, so you don't want to be left behind anymore. So there's Explorer Pass here. It's $550 off just on timing, okay, and then you get an extra 15% off on that. Then you have your other passes here as well. They go up from there. I do recommend going to this event. Everybody who can be here. You see Robert F. Kennedy. I know people feel one way or the other about JRFK. He is a big name. He is also a big of crypto and non-vaxxes and all these types of things. He has quite a few different stances. I think he wants to end the Fed as well. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is the headliner. He is the headliner, and I am going through my back channels. To get to RFK, to get him to our gala. Of course, we have our Washington Elite Gala. I'll put that down there as well. Washington Elite Gala, that's going to be on May 30th. May 30th, we have our Washington Elite Gala. Of course, that's for a wonderful cause as well, supporting our disabled sporting initiatives, and always is a wonderful time as well. You can register for that at lu.ma/Washington Elite Gala. Okay, LU, that's Luma, lu.ma/Washington Elite Gala. You can register there. You can get a VIP ticket if you would like to, or you can register and hope that you get approved. I will say that it is filling up very, very fast. So if you do want to come, I would suggest getting a ticket. Chris Dixon is also speaking at he's a A16Z crypto, big fund. Kathy Wood as well. Mike Novogratz. These are just massive names. These are massive names, okay, in this space. And this is where you want to New York, the president of the New York Stock Exchange, Lynn Martin. You have Sergey Nazarov with Chainlink. You have Anthony Pompliano with Pomp Investments. Jenny Johnson with Franklin Templeton. Cassie Rodemar, he's the creator of Ordinals. You have Ron Wyden of Democrat of Oregon. He is the chairman Committee on Finance in the U.S. Senate. You have Tom Emer, who is the majority whip in the U.S. House of Representatives. You have Ernest Klein, Readyverse Studios. You have Summer Mersinger. She's the commissioner of the Commodities Futures and Trading Commission. So you see, it's like a mix, right? We have suits and we have other people. But this event, more than any other event, guys, Consensus 2024, massive event. Brian Nelson here. He's the Undersecretary, Office of Terrorism and Financial Intelligence, Department of the Treasury. Hester Pierce, Commissioner, U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. Claire Silver, collaborative artist. And we go on from there. Todd McFarlane, Nick Carter, Rune Christensen, Brad Garlinghouse. He's with Ripple, the CEO of Ripple. Everybody, I can tell you, I know a lot of people own Ripple right now. They're waiting for that big pump. Just while doing the show here, pump over 67 grand on Bitcoin, by the way. I'm about to bring up and Tim Draper. What a nice guy. Tim Draper, always willing to talk to you, always willing to be there. I'm going to email Tim too. I have Tim and I have corresponded a bit over the years. We as well in Paris at Paris Blockchain Week, but I would love to have him at the gala as well. So this is a really important event. A lot of stuff. I think decisions are going to be made coming out of here that are going to affect your money, affect how things are, how they work. Okay, so that's Consensus Austin. It will be quite a big event. Our event there at the Washington Elite Gala. This is shaping up to be one of our most successful galas to date. You can get a ticket, a VIP ticket. You can get a VIP table, and you can just register as well. We are approving some people that just register. There aren't seats for everybody, though, unless, of course, as more and more tables are sold and tickets are sold, we do have the flexibility with the venue to increase. So that's how that's working. It may end up being it is actually shaping up to be the most successful one that we've ever thrown. Consensus has been absolutely wonderful. We are Global Boost Media is an official marketing partner, and we're super happy about it. We're super happy about it. So consensus2024.coindesk.com. Use referral code Bruce. We're going to dig into the markets here. I have my report from my main man, Matt Dixon. Matt was unable to join us this morning. He had to do some stuff. So he is very trustworthy, and he's very consistent. He sent me over the recorded deal. So I'm going to drop that right here. Boom. And
good morning, Bruce. Good morning to all the Impact Money community. Pleasure to be with you again this Monday morning. So there's been quite a lot of news activity over the weekend. Obviously, we saw the aircraft go down, the helicopter go down with the Iranian president on board. And reports are, I think, that unfortunately he died in that accident. Thankfully, it appears there's nothing behind it. It was purely an accident. I think it's in foggy conditions. Nothing to do with Israel, as far as I'm aware, which would be a massive concern for escalation if that were to be the case. But I don't think there's anything untoward there. So that's good news. Other news, we saw obviously Venezuela have banned cryptocurrency, Bitcoin mining in particular, because it uses so much energy. And as you may be aware, Venezuela have been suffering blackouts, regular blackouts, to do with this overuse of energy. And so they banned, I think, 11,000 Bitcoin crypto miners, and they've confiscated equipment. So that is their solution to solving the energy crisis that's been caused by the massive amount of Bitcoin mining that was going on there. So that, I think, was one of the reasons that we saw a little bit of a turn down in Bitcoin, just a little bit of a pullback, but then it picked up much higher. So we will jump straight into the Bitcoin chart as we see here now. We see the little pullback that happened overnight in Bitcoin, and I think that is just a corrective pullback. So we can see that price has begun to move up higher again, and a minimum target that we had for Bitcoin, it can be measured in different ways. So we actually had either a triangle or a WXY, which is a corrective move either way. So from that corrective move, we apparently have had a 5-wave move to the upside, then we pulled back in a 3-wave move to the downside, and we're pushing up again to the upside now. So there's 2 possibilities here. Either the overall correction is complete with this WXY or triangle here, and we're now moving impulsively to the upside. If that's the case, then this will be counted as wave 1, then wave 2, and then we're beginning the early stages of wave 3, which would be massive, taking us to new all-time highs pretty well straight away on, or very soon, on Bitcoin. The other alternative is that we need to keep these various alternatives in mind. It's to do with our risk reward and just planning our trades moving forward. So the other alternative is that instead of being wave 1 up, it could just be a wave A, a wave B down, and then a wave C higher, to complete basically a correction down, then a correction higher. Then we'd have a further corrective move or another move to the downside to complete a larger correction downwards before we then moved towards the upside. So overall, I'm still very bullish on Bitcoin despite the news of Venezuela. I think that's actually a sort of very small ripple in the pond, drop in the ocean. I don't think it has an overall major effect on crypto. So overall, still the fundamentals are good. We also saw, by the way, that I think it was it BlackRock who are potentially manipulating Bitcoin prices through off-chain transactions. And this is really shady stuff that I think the SEC should be looking into this kind of activity. It's traditional finance people who seem to be getting away with murder whilst at the edges they're attacking crypto people retroactively for previous breaches that they've corrected now, but still are going after them retroactively. As I say, but they're not going after things like the SEC are not going after things like this, which is blatant manipulation of the Bitcoin price for their profit. So they're not going after traditional players, they're just going after crypto people. It does seem like they have an agenda going on there. But anyway, for long-term holders of Bitcoin, it's still looking overall positive, even if we were to get a more serious pullback. As long as you're not leveraged, you're not in futures, and you're not leveraged to the upside, then potentially there's, you can just hold on to your position and you should get some, we should rally to new all-time highs at some point, but nobody can be certain of the short term. So this sort of area, 69,000, is a sort of area of interest. And if we do rally to there, it may be an area to start looking at your risk reward. Maybe you should protect your position, think about where your stop losses are, that kind of thing. So Bitcoin has been one of the safe havens. Bitcoin dominance has been predominant lately because Bitcoin has had so much adoption through the Bitcoin ETF. And I think we're actually seeing record figures. I think it's 54 billion so far net inflow into the Bitcoin ETF. So that's a real big positive for Bitcoin. The others have been playing a little bit of catch up, and we see now Ethereum, we can see here now over 3,000, 3,100. And this does appear to be a corrective move to the downside, but also it's corrective to the upside. So that kind of lends a bit of credibility to what we mentioned about Bitcoin just now, that potentially we may still have a bit lower to go, but overall long term, this appears to be very corrective to the downside on Ethereum. And so at some point we should push to new highs above this previous high here, which was 4,000, over 4,000. So I think that Bitcoin and Ethereum here, this is looking very, very corrective to the downside. When I say corrective, I mean it's very overlapping. So you can see that this movement up here overlap this movement down here, and this movement up here is already overlapped this movement down here. So there's a lot of overlap, and that's indicative of a corrective move which is against the overall trend. So the actual predominant trend for now with Ethereum still appears to be very much to the upside. And notice we haven't crossed this low. We're moving down here. We haven't crossed this low, sorry, this high point here that I've got labeled here as A, whether it's A or not, doesn't matter. This high point here, this pivot point, actually I can see we did just touch below it. So again, could be part of just a correction and still higher to go. So it's a bit uncertain because corrections are one of the most difficult patterns to try to predict where it's going to finish. Corrections are there's more variations in a correction. So with an impulse, you basically have 5 waves higher, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the impulsive counters with the trend. But when you're looking at a correction, there are a lot more alternatives with various outcomes for how deep they retrace. So you can have what's called a flat correction, which is a 3, 3, 5 correction. You can have a zigzag correction, which is a 5, 3, 5. Then you can have a triangle correction, which is A, B, C, D, E. But what makes it even more complicated is you can actually have multiple corrections. So you can have a double 3, which is a W, X, Y correction. It's a 3, 3, 3 correction. You can even have a triple 3 correction. They're very, very rare, but a triple would be W, X, Y, X, Z. So just really complicated when it comes to corrections. So that's why we can't tell for certain when a correction is complete, because it can take on many, many forms. And one of the most predictive corrections I find is actually a triangle correction. And we saw that potentially with Bitcoin. I'll just flip back to that. We can see, zoomed out here, we can actually see a potential triangle, which is in the form of, it's a correction to the downside here. So we see A, B, C, D, and E. And the E wave is the only one which is allowed to either undershoot or overshoot the trend lines. So potentially we did overshoot the trend line here. And if that's the case, then if it's a triangle, it's what's called a pre-terminal wave. The move out of the triangle called the thrust will be a terminal wave. And the terminal wave should take us to new all-time highs. That's if it's a triangle. But in this case, it's a little bit uncertain because it could potentially just be 3 waves down for W, 3 waves up for X, and 3 waves down for Y. So it could be a WXY. But either way, they're both corrected. And so we would expect some upside now, which is what we've been seeing. And we were very predictive around here, saying it's good upside potential for Bitcoin. But right now, there's a little bit of uncertainty around these sort of levels. So I'm not looking to initiate new positions on Bitcoin. I think it's probably time, we will look at a couple of other cryptos, but probably time to just take a little look about what's happening in the other markets, correlated markets, very important markets for us. So we saw gold actually rallied massively here. This is amazing. So we said all along this was just a corrective move. And again, we said corrective because, once again, this move up here overlaps this move down here. That's telling us this move down is just corrective. It was against the trend. So we're expecting to move higher to new all-time highs on gold. And that is precisely what's happened. So we can see here, we moved to new all-time highs on gold. We just got a little bit of a pullback in the last 4 hours, but gold has been really, really positive, a really good move. We can see here up 1% overall on the day anyway, which is actually a good move. Tells us that potentially there's a little bit of tension in the markets, whether it's geopolitical tension, possibly to do with that Iran helicopter going down, or it could be potential inflationary pressures. And gold is a traditional hedge against inflation. So gold is looking positive. We said for a long time this was corrective. The next target to the upside would be over 2,500 for gold. So still a nice little bit up to go. And it could actually go way beyond there. That's just the most immediate target. So we had that right from this ABC down. We said that gold is a really good potential to go higher. And as we say, it has done. So that's gold looking positive as a hedge against inflation, as a hedge against uncertainty. We also see oil did pick up quite a little bit. We tested this low, which is a sort of support area, very important support area. We tested it. We just spiked a fraction below, but it's only a spike below. None of the Campbell bodies here. The Campbell body is the main body where the price finishes, but it actually tested a little bit lower. Just tested slightly below the support line here, and then pushed higher. So oil, again, which is one of those which is quite highly correlated with gold. We can see here that oil did bounce off quite strongly. So potentially, we're seeing some tensions, maybe even economic tensions with potential inflation pressures. But there's not a lot of news coming out of the US just at the moment. We'll need to wait for the next inflation news to get the next guidance on where things are going. So then we'll look at the DXY. So dollar index here. We can see dollar index has taken a turn to the downside. We actually signaled that was going to happen. This hasn't been changed. This arrow was on the chart for some time now, that we expected basically the continuation to the downside to continue. And as long as that continues, that the dollar remains reasonably weak, then that's probably quite supportive of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and the equity markets. Probably quite supportive. So we've seen dollar index come down quite a lot from the previous high of 106.50. We saw it dip to 104.07, and we're currently 104.49. So still relatively low on the dollar index. And we can see here an ABC to the upside. So potentially we actually could have quite a bit more downside to come. That should be positive crypto. So I think the backdrop is actually quite supportive right now for crypto. And we're seeing Bitcoin up for the day of 0.85%. We'll look at one of the big ones. Solana has been a big gainer recently, 4.5% pretty well. So we've seen a really good bounce back. And again, we had this labeled as some kind of possibly complete correction, or it may be just part of a bigger correction where we again see 3 down, 3 up, and maybe further down. So this, instead of being 1, could again be an ABC to the upside. Probably still some more upside to come if this is part of a larger correction before we then see maybe another test to the downside, or it could be that the correction is complete here. And just reiterating what I said before, corrections are quite uncertain. They can take many different forms. So we could have here a WXY complete, or it could be just part of a larger correction of 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 or 5 down to complete a larger correction. So that's why there's still uncertainty. We were saying good potential upside for Solana. And when the market moves, Solana tends to move more. And the market's been bullish. And we can see here Solana is the big gainer for the time being. The only one I see bigger is Injective. And I actually featured Injective on my X account at MD Trade. I featured that before this move, saying it's really positive, great token. Chart setup was amazing. So we caught that one beautifully. That's up 6%, over 6% today. So that's one that we caught on X, and actually we caught it on the eBay platform as well. So the ebay.io platform is an amazing one to identify some of those big movers through upgrades and downgrades in the ratings of the particular tokens. So what I do is I identify them on the platform. I often post those on my X account at MD Trade after I've done some more due diligence to just check and verify that the upgrade downgrade fits with my chart analysis. And when they both corroborate, the evidence corroborates, then I'll often go into, or I'll basically say, this is a good potential for a move on that particular cryptocurrency. So again, we saw, just jumping to Litecoin, it's moved up from the low point that we said is, whilst it's being corrective, I still expect we've probably got some more upside to go on Litecoin, even if it's part of a larger correction, still probably more upside. And actually it's bounced quite nicely off the little bit of a low we had over the weekend. It's already bouncing quite nicely and moving up nicely, expecting that probably to continue to move to the upside. We should take a look at the SPX as well, which is obviously the S&P 500. It's moved amazingly to, let me just move to the daily here. And the reason I'm moving to the daily is just to show you this divergence potentially that we had in play here. I'll just extend this a little bit. So we're looking at the higher highs on price and lower highs on RSI, and the corresponding RSI. Let's just see. There it is. Okay, so actually, according to this now, because RSI has moved up, we still have very mild, we do have mild divergence here. So we can see RSI going very slightly down, and over the corresponding period here, the price peaks are higher. It's very mild because RSI is only slightly down. If RSI were to pick up, this divergence will be eliminated. And actually, if it's eliminated, that means it's potentially opening the way higher for the price on the S&P 500. So, you really need to watch this. We did see a red candle, so it was kind of confirmed that this divergence was in play and potential for downside. But if we see RSI rise, just so that this downward sloping line becomes level or upward sloping, then divergence will be eliminated. This would no longer be a signal then for the S&P 500. So the way would be open then for potentially higher. And I've already got a point of, and I've had this labeled for a long time, many weeks now, of 5379 as the next potential target to the upside that could potentially create a bit of resistance. So I do think, like Bitcoin, as we said, Bitcoin potentially has a little bit higher to go. I think S&P 500 has higher to go. I think they all have a bit higher to go before we meet those resistance levels and potentially then have some downside to come. So we'll see on that one. Just looking very quickly through the memes. I'll try and tie it up today because I know Bruce has other interviews he wants to play and share with you today. But Dogecoin has continued its gradual rise. It did go up to 20 something a few weeks ago. It came down to 12, and now it's been gradually rising. And we did say when it fell to 12, that's a sort of good area to start to think about dollar cost averaging back into Doge. And if you had, you'd be sitting pretty right now. And it's gradually climbing, along with the other memes today, which are looking positive. So book of memes at 1.76%. That's been climbing really nicely. Shiba, here again up 0.5% today. Toncoin was taking a bit of a downturn the other day, took a bit of a pullback, but actually that's coming back positively now. And again, it's great potential, really good, good potential for Toncoin. So it's got the record for the fastest number of transactions per second. It's got all sorts of records, great community, great valuation. It's one of those big potential tokens. I just got GameStop on here just because it's basically a meme. It's an equity meme, so it's a kind of traditional meme stock, and we can see the way it rocketed in price and then fell just as rapidly, because it's got nothing behind it. Basically, there's nothing to support this. It's purely just activity through the likes of Robinhood, promoting this just through community, not through any particular use case or value or anything of that sort. It's purely just a meme pumped on community following and community engagement, pushing behind it. So it had a great story behind it, of course, but it's very, very risky. Not one that I would like to get involved with because they're so volatile. You know, it's already fallen probably 60%, maybe more than 60% since the recent peak just a few days ago, 3-4 days ago, fallen 60%. So these are highly risky things. Probably not a good idea to get involved with. Render has been another good one. These are lesser known tokens, but this is where the eBay platform comes in. We rate over 700 cryptocurrencies, and as I say, do other due diligence, but actually highlight some of the real potentials there. And I always use it to highlight that. Do my due diligence, and as I say, I post this normally on my X feed, which has been quite popular. So Algo has been another great one that we've been following, which again is up nearly 1% today, and that's one that the eBay platform called out for a big move up. I think from about 13 cents, it's now 17, so that's been a good one. And ICP is taking a little bit of a breather today. It had some bullish divergence in place here, telling us that the price was going to rise. It did rise. And so hopefully if you got onto that, you could be protecting your position. You'd still be in profit, protected profit no matter what happens. You'd be guaranteed of your profit now. It's actually got some kind of doji at the moment. That's this candlestick formation, which is telling you right now it's a little bit undecided, or maybe just erring slightly towards the negative, but potential doji there. So RSI is right in the middle. So there's definitely potential for price to move higher. There's no divergences as far as I can see currently in play. The divergence expired really here. We got some upside movement from it. So I'm just looking, actually, there's almost divergence. If the price were to move a bit higher, we could have some divergence if RSI were to move higher. So what we'd see then is lower peaks on the price and higher peak on potentially on the RSI. So that could turn into potentially some negative divergence. So whilst it looks as though we might move a bit higher, we may get another pullback after that. So overall, anyway, markets are fairly mixed. The signals, the indications are fairly mixed. We need to keep a very close eye just in case there's any developments come out of this Iran thing, but hopefully there won't be. And hopefully it was just purely a very horrible accident, and nothing sinister behind it. So other than that, I think the markets are looking reasonably positive, but nothing majorly so. So no reason to panic. Yeah, and again, I think that's a reasonably good wrap for today. We just need to keep an eye on things and wait for the next news to come out, because we're in that quiet summer period. It's only driven by when news comes out. That'll be the next driver for the market. So we'll look ahead probably tomorrow. We'll take a closer look at inflation news, what the expectations are for the next inflation news and when that will be, and so we can plan our movements moving forward. So again, thank you for listening. Hope that's helpful. Look forward to catching up tomorrow. Thank you, Bruce, and thank you to the Impact Money community. Great to be with you. Bye for now.
Another great report by Matt Dixon. Wonderful guy. Really enjoy working with him. It has been a real pleasure for us to work together since the inception of this show. As a matter of fact, every day we come to you, we bring you what's going on, the analysis, world news, analysis, all these types of things. Right up next, I want to play this. I have the Bibin Babu, and I met. We weren't even sure where. I think probably in Dubai at some time, and he's with Pacio. We saw each other again at the Paris Blockchain Week, and I have his interview right here. He is joining us in Austin at Consensus 2024, as well at the Washington Elite Gala. He's supporting the event, and as well doing some exciting things. So I want to share that. I'm going to bring it onto the screen right here. This is Bibin Babu with Pacio. All right, here we go. And we are back here at Paris Blockchain Week. Another, really, the day is going great. Another great project here as well. I have with me here Bibin Babu. We're sure we know each other. We're not sure exactly where from, probably Dubai somewhere. He's with Pacio, and Pacio is innovating the way that people send crypto, right, if I understand it correctly. Absolutely. Right? So tell me a little bit about Pacio and what brought you here to Paris Blockchain Week.
Thank you, Bruce, for having me on the show. My name is Bibin. I'm the co-founder of Pacio. At Pacio, what we're doing is enabling the next 100 million users to come onto crypto. How are we doing that? Is by making it the most simple possible. So Pacio is the world's most simple crypto payment application to use. You can make payments of crypto using mobile numbers. So our vision is very simple, that people were able to communicate with each other because messaging system and emails became accessible. Right. So if today I want to talk to Bruce, I don't need to think about which phone does he use, which mobile network does he use, which part of the world is he in. I just write him a message on his number. The same has to happen with crypto payments. Unfortunately, that did not happen because even today, we have to be on either the same chain,
yeah,
or using the same wallets.
Yeah. And don't send the wrong coin to the wrong place.
Exactly.
We're all like tens of thousands of dollars in the hole over that.
Exactly. And you need to have good internet, in good internet ecosystem. You need to be aware about how does crypto transfers work. This is not simple. It is only simple when my grandfather or your grandfather can actually use it as simple as that, right? In a click. And that is what we've done at Pacio. You just get on board of the app, right? You want to transfer money to anybody in any part of the world. You just send it. And most importantly, you don't need to keep money in our wallets. Mm-hmm. If you like other wallets, keep using those wallets. You can use the funds from that wallet and still transfer.
Okay.
Right? So we are non-custodial.
Yep.
And I should tell you the beauty of the product.
Well, I mean, it already non-custodial is like part beauty right there, because we've all lost so much money over the years being on these centralized exchanges.
Right.
It just hurts me to even think about it.
Right.
But people need to understand. And even these paper ETFs, now people are like, okay, I'll just own the paper Bitcoin. I'll own the paper ETF Bitcoin. No, buy the Bitcoin yourself and hold it yourself, guys. Come on. So tell me, what's the next best thing?
Most importantly, the internet ecosystem is not really there in all the countries. So the third world countries, especially in the African regions, they have less internet penetration. So what we have done is, Pacio also functions offline, which means if you don't have internet, you want to make a payment, it will still go through. We're using the offline banking mechanism in that.
Okay.
We're being backed by a couple of liquidity providers in that part of the world, which means that if you're in a mountain,
yep,
you don't have internet, you want to make a payment, maybe for something very urgent, like a medicine.
Sure.
And you are not able to do it because the card doesn't work there, your wallet doesn't work there. Use Pacio. The transactions goes through within 10 seconds.
Wow.
Right?
Just set right over the SMS.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And lastly, it works as in-store payments. You just walk into with the same Payseo app
Okay.
into a store and make payment for coffee, for your wife's bag or makeup, right? To buy food, to pay for your kids' fees, to buy insurance, and so on and so forth. So we're making it as
So you've
simple as
integrated
possible.
with Visa or MasterCard or something like that for that?
So we have, as I said, we have liquidity providers already.
Okay.
Which make the crypto settlement via fiat, versus fiat in local currencies in that part of the world. So we have local banking partnerships. For the application goes live for 100+ countries already.
Okay.
We and the fiat payment, the off ramp, on ramp, would be as per law of the land.
Okay.
Right. So, and in a way, it is actually good also for the regulators, because I want the governments to trust crypto.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we can't be totally anti them.
We can't be totally anti-government, even if we are.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah, we kind of need to have them on the boat to make it a big success.
We need to have them on the phone
right?
so we can push them off. No, I'm kidding.
Now I'll tell you one more thing, Bruce.
Yeah, tell me.
So today, when you send crypto or receive crypto, you don't know whom you're sending it to and whom are you receiving it from.
Right.
Right?
It's a big problem in Europe.
Big
Central
problem.
banks, we want to know everything. You send more than 3,000 euros somewhere, and we want to know who it is.
Exactly. Right? And now with Payseo, we are sending crypto on mobile numbers. So I know I'm sending it to Bruce.
Right.
And Bruce knows that it's been sending him money. Not a terrorist group.
Not a terrorist group. That's great. So I have the website right here, I think. Right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna share screen here while we're talking about it. So you guys have a big announcement here as well, right? You guys are at Paris Blockchain Week special. Cross Payseo is here to simplify crypto transactions. Let me just make sure that's going well over here. It is. Okay. Adopting UCPI. So for our viewers, what's UCPI?
So UCPI is Unified Crypto Payment Interface.
Okay.
So that all existing players can easily integrate with us and can be unified on one layer. Irrespective of being non-custodial, we are able to do that.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the patented technology which we have.
And so you have here, once it scrolls through again, you have a point of sale device. Is that part of the plan roadmap?
Yes, we do. We have. Though I'm not a fan of POS machines, we eventually want to keep it only QR based.
Yeah,
and a device and a mobile device based. So the merchants can always have a merchant app on the phones. They can just scan it and make payments.
Yeah.
When they're doing payments online on websites, you can just put your Payseo ID, and a pop-up comes on your Payseo app. You approve the payment and it goes through.
Cool. So where are you guys with regulations like in the US? Are you able to operate in the US?
So right now we are based out of UAE. We are
so anything goes. No, I'm kidding. I love Dubai.
So we are VARA compliant. So VARA is Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority. We're actually approved by them.
Yep.
And as I said, we'll be actually active in 100+ countries,
including the US.
Including the US.
Awesome.
Not for off-ramp yet.
Okay.
But we will be there very soon.
Yeah.
So in fact, our team is visiting the US end of the month to make some good partnerships and enable it also for off-ramp payments.
Cool. So you guys going to be in New York or DC or both?
We will be first in Texas and then in New York.
Okay, cool. So, this will play in Texas as well. That's where we have a big distribution on our TV network.
Exactly.
Really cool. And then New York.
Yeah.
New York is where it all happens. And then DC is where everybody gets in the way. Everybody gets in the way of things easy. So really cool. So Payseo, it's Payseo, that website, just so you guys know.
Payseo.com.
Payseo.com, Paycio.com. So tell me your plans are now. You're coming to the U.S. What else do you guys have planned over the next few months?
So firstly, we are focusing on user acquisitions.
Okay.
Our plan is to have 1 million users by end of the year.
Okay.
Which is a very achievable number because the adoption is actually increasing. Plus, since we are very simple, it makes it easier not just for us, also for our merchants to use us and actually give added power to their existing customers.
Right.
So 100 million users is the first target.
Yep.
Right. To do some good partnerships with banking, banking partnership, liquidity providers, online, offline merchants. In fact, even retail partners. Right. That's one goal.
Yep.
And a goal which we have. Lastly, as I said, I mean, one thing which I want to emphasize on is to empower the homemakers, the women, who actually don't get into cryptos that easily because it's tough to use.
I always say that, look, I don't know where, guys, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but my wife is never going to send some digital coins to this long address.
Yes.
Never going to happen.
Exactly.
She won't do it. I mean, it's just like, you know what I mean? So this part is a huge part of it. Big part of it.
But, Nancy would send money to Tracy.
She'll send it
just
to my
number.
phone.
Yes.
Yeah, this is how Zelle works,
So
right?
Can you imagine the women community who are homemakers and earners and spenders coming onto crypto with us just because PaySio has made it so simple.
Pretty cool. So did you guys raise some money? What's your situation there?
So we are bootstrapped. We just made the funding round live.
Okay.
Right. So we are raising our first seed plus angel round together. We've been backed by really good people.
Yeah.
The senior management of NVIDIA is on board.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah. They are our investors. Some high net network individuals. Plus good layer ones are coming on board to support us. So that we integrate them as well.
Nice.
So the fundraise has just gone live and we've already got really good response. And we plan to, also for the community, we do plan to have a token out, maybe in the next 6 months, so that the community can benefit out of it, because this is going to be the go-to retail Web3 application.
Yep. Amazing. Really cool. And so how much are you looking to raise in this initial round?
So we're raising $5 million.
Okay.
We already have more than 30% of commitment and money, which has already come in the last 10 days.
Yep.
So it's lovely response. And that's also one of the reasons I'm at Paris Blockchain Week.
Right.
We get to meet good partners, good people, good advisors, good investors, because we're looking for people who actually add value, not just money. We can easily make money because we're solving a major problem.
Right.
Right. So, but yes, that's one of the idea of being in Paris Blockchain Week.
Yep.
Good bunch of people.
It is, right?
Really good, thought leaders.
Yes.
People who have really done well in the Web3 space, and people who have done great in the Web2 space and are looking to enter Web3 space and investing in it.
Awesome. Well, really cool. So it's PaySio.com. What's the Twitter?
It's PaySio Global. PaySio Global.
PaySio Global on Twitter. Make sure to check them out. Bibin, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, Bruce, for having me.
Yeah.
And love you all.
We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Well, there you have it, guys. Bibin Babu, great guy, a friend. He's with PaySio, PaySio.com. Make sure you check it out. He will be at Consensus. Join us at Consensus. You can meet Bibin Babu, talk to him about what he's doing. He will also be at the Washington Elite Gala, so you can see him there. He's going to be there at Consensus. He'll be there at the gala. Super excited. Paris Blockchain Week was really great, and we met some wonderful people, just like you, for joining in and watching. We've done it again. We have another great show here, and we're going to do it again in a few hours. I want to say hats off to my main man there, Fly Mackey, the man with the plan. We are in the midst of a redesign of the website, it looks like, as well, but you can check that out at smartmoneyculture.tv. We're adding a lot of new programming as well. And, we're going to have a lot of new media and a lot of new interviews and new people. I have emails coming in right and left. I'll tell you, I slept for about 3 hours last night. I am working harder than a one-armed coat hanger. And that was rough, man. Probably less than 3 hours last night. But right now we're in this home stretch going into Austin, going into Consensus, and that's what we do, right? So pretty interesting stuff. But what we're doing here and on smartmoneyculture.tv is really important work, and it enables a lot of the things that we are doing. So make sure to, if you check them out, if you want to get involved in that, it is growing very rapidly. You can just do a contact form there on the TV, smartmoneyculture.tv. Put in a contact there and write a check, as he always says. Just write a check. How do I get involved? Just write a check. That's what he always says. So good stuff. I know this week is going to be full. We have interviews all week. We had Pacio today. We have some more that are coming up. We'll be communicating a lot with people. I'm always open to communication. If you want to reach out to me, you can reach out directly. X is a great place to reach out to me. I'm also very easy to find as well. Come to Austin, register for CoinDesk, use the referral code Bruce, join our gala. I'll talk more about the gala as well. Actually, you know what? Well, no, I don't have time. I'll talk more about the gala and some of our work that we do there tomorrow. Good evening, morning, and everything else, guys. Cheers.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future.